Welcome to VG247's views. We're not allowed to call it that.
What is the name of it?
I just keep calling it views just to annoy Tom.
All I know is you called it views, and then Tom went, "It's not called that." And I was like, okay.
And we don't know what it's called yet. We've just obviously come off the Christmas break, so there's not a lot of news to go into, but I wanted to talk about how I really clicked with Starfield over the break.
Oh.
Right? And I've been I feel like I have to kind of eat my words a bit, because I've been quite disparaging about Starfield. There's no f***ing point. There's no f***ing point in doing anything. I'm like, well, it's boring, isn't it? They managed to make Skyrim boring.
Yeah.
Right? But actually, I got into it, and I think I got into it around the same time as getting properly into For All Mankind, which I think might have been related.
You are also a space sado, though. You are also a space
I am
sado.
a total
You have
space
to
sado,
remember
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
You know.
And you would think Skyrim in space would be like that. I mean, they made that for Jim, right? But
it's a good game. I do think, I reviewed it and I liked it.
Yeah.
I do think it's an exceedingly boring game.
Yeah.
That's it.
I thought about this a lot in the run up to Christmas, where obviously on VG247 we just did our own individual picks for Game of the Year, which really appeared to confuse some people.
Yeah, I think
even some publishers
Deliberately.
Even some publishers seem to get confused.
I thought it was we did the same thing last year. I thought it was really funny to not be like, this is one of our games of the year. I thought it'd be really funny to just be like, RoboCop's our game of the year, and then the next day go, Street Fighter's our game of the year.
And then you get someone in the comments going, how can this be your game of the year when you already said that RoboCop was your game of the year? Anyway,
yeah.
But on RPG stuff, we do a more traditional, like everyone has to agree.
Yeah,
and that took 8 fucking hours. Very long. What we do is we record the process of deliberating, and we just put that out on our podcast feed. So if anyone has really way too much time on their hands, they can listen to it all start to finish. But I was thinking about it a lot because that's a website dedicated to role-playing games, and there were 2 big games that didn't even make their top 10.
Yeah.
And that was Starfield and Final Fantasy 16. And they're funny bedfellows.
Insane, isn't it? Yeah.
They're funny. I think they're funny bedfellows because they're both a little bit boring. Final Fantasy 16 is like, it's got those amazing boss battles, and the visual spectacle is incredible, and it blows you away with that. It's got some really incredible story delivery. I don't think the story is great, but like the voice performances, the direction is really, really, really good. You can tell it's a game that they focus tested to hell and back. Yeah. And so it's weirdly boring. And Starfield is not like that. Like, I don't think there's a single moment in Starfield where I went, wow, at the presentation. Like, Jesus Christ, quite the opposite.
Yeah.
Starfield is like really interesting in that it has loads of really interesting systems and mechanics. And I think the shipbuilding is really unique and interesting. But the whole that ties it together is really boring. I was chatting about this to some friends in like more casual gamer friends, where it's me and the lads that I used to go to school with or be in bands with, and we're in a big WhatsApp group, and we're chatting about games, and Starfield came up, and one of them said the thing that really shows Starfield up is how boring all the companions are.
100%.
None of the companions have any spice or anything like that.
No,
it's just they're all just sort of boring wankers.
Do you remember when the pre-release sort of hype, they showcased the robot companion, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's going to be so cool." You get into the game, it's like somehow like
apart from that like initial encounter, he says "fuck all" for the entire game.
He's boring.
I totally forget about him until he's like hanging out the back of your ship when you land somewhere.
Exactly.
The way they deliver those companions as well is really shit. Like Vasco, the robot, for instance, he's just sort of, there's no momentum and no occasion when he joins your party. He's just sort of there, and it's the same for the other guys at Constellation, right? It's like no one gets a big intro in the way that like you think about Mass Effect. Right, that's like the gold standard for companions. 100%. And you think about, meeting Rex when he's having and I'm not even talking about Mass Effect 2 and 3 where they got even better at that stuff, but just think about Mass Effect 1, you think about meeting Rex when he's having an argument with CSEC officers, and it's like, this guy is saying, fuck the police, doesn't give a damn. He's saying to him, shoot me if you want, but I'm going to do what I want. Or, you know, you meet Garrus when he's doing his investigation, and when you go to see the council, he tells them to do one, basically. Yeah. All that is really, really fun and interesting and makes those characters memorable. Everyone in this game, I don't know, it's just, but the systems are so interesting. It's like you can really see that all the individual pieces of the game were designed by different people. So it's like the people who built the shipbuilding team, whoever that was, were really talented and really good and built an amazing, best-in-class shipbuilder.
It's fucking incredible.
And the people, like the people who implemented zero G and physics into that engine, like all incredible stuff. But it's just once it's the rare game that is, to use the cliche, less than the sum of its parts. And yes, and this is where I come back around to what you were saying. When I reviewed it, I really liked it because I just sort of found myself in a sort of vaguely OCD way, zeroing in on the bits of the game that I really liked. And that helped its review score. Actually, now in hindsight, I probably would bump it down a little bit in review. It depends, right? We have a 5-star review system here. I don't think this takes it down a whole star, but I think if you're on a 10-point scale, a bit more hindsight, I'm like, yeah, maybe it would be a point lower. But at the time I reviewed it, I was just enjoying so much the bits of the game I was enjoying. And I'm guessing that's probably what's happened to you over Christmas.
You know, that is literally it. Like, because I think when I started playing it last year, I kind of played it as though I would like an Elder Scrolls game. Where, like, I'm not particularly fussed, or a Fallout game where I'm not really fussed about the base building and all the kind of Radiant Quest stuff. You know, I really like playing through the actual, like, you know, scripted quests and the big kind of the guilds and all that kind of stuff, the real kind of the showpiece kind of spectacle stuff that they do. The Starfield doesn't have much of that, so I think that's where. But when I started clicking with it was, as you say, it was the shipbuilder. I got really into the shipbuilder, and then I started building outposts because like I got like Radiant quests about like, can you get us like 500 lead? So obviously you have to build an outpost
for the manufacturers.
Yeah. And you just sort of pick up these odd jobs and stuff, which is the sort of thing that space games have a lot of, these sort of procedurally generated kind of missions and stuff. And I thought that this would be the least interesting thing, but actually that's the stuff I've been really concentrating on. And I genuinely like just love the world, the kind of the NASA kind of like click clunk of it all as well. So the aesthetic is really appealing. I think in no small part because of getting into For All Mankind as well. It feels like it could be almost part of the same universe, really. I've really had a massive turnaround on it because, like, by the end of last year, I was like, well, it's a fucking, like, Bethesda fucked it. It's a 6 out of 10. It's a shiter. And now I'm like, actually, you know what? I'm getting quite obsessed with it. And I'm getting obsessed with, like, you know, treating the ship. Like, I'm playing it like it's a doll's house. Like, I'm putting, like, like I got really obsessed with like making sure that there were enough beds for all the crew and stuff, and testing out all the different hab modules, and being like, oh, maybe I'll have a captain's quarters up there and a workshop there, and I spent probably about 4 hours last night just kind of pissing about with a ship build that trying to get it like perfect. And when you kind of take a step back, none of that stuff really matters because like the actual functionality of all that stuff is really minimal and it's mostly cosmetic. But in terms of like role playing, in terms of just letting yourself like get absorbed in it and thinking like, well, yeah, of course Barrett needs a bunk, you know. Like
you can have a lot of fun with that for sure. There's like a bunch of videos of people like throwing like thousands of potatoes in a room on their ship and like opening and closing it, and one of their companions yelling over like for hoarding too much junk.
Joy,
and that's the juice. That's what Bethesda games are so good at, right?
Yeah.
But like, I also tried to jump back into Starfield. Man, it's so dull. I can't. It's just like so. I can't forget landing on a planet and that just like running 500 meters to a place and it just being like a boring jog. Whereas in Skyrim, like, which is the most obvious comparison, right? Like Skyrim space, like you would be like attacked by a giant or even a dog would bite at you, and that's something. But like, I'm like you in that, especially as I've gotten older, I do like the story aspects of RPGs more than like messing around with other stuff. I'm not a big sort of like town builder. I'm not a big sort of build crafter, whatever. I like the stories, which is why, like you said, there's not a huge amount of that in Starfield, which is why I still think it's a bit wank.
I've had to engage with it in terms I never expected, like, because I thought it would be like, okay, so the tissue that ties all the story stuff together, I thought that was going to be like, okay, it's going to be a really like Elite Dangerous for like, you know, preschoolers sort of space sim, and then it's basically going to be Skyrim in space, but it's not any of those things. It's kind of like a Barbie's dream house sort of ship builder, and you collect people like Pokemon and deposit them on planets just to sort of you know, and
I think that's the bit that's going to get better, right?
Yeah, I think so too. Especially with mods and stuff, right? I mean, we were talking before release about how the modding potential of having like a load of barren planets is incredible. So, you know, I wonder if people are going to start like, you know, building proper big cities and whatever.
Yeah, but even the modders are sick of it. They're like cancelling projects and leaving.
I know, I did see that. One of the modders is just like, the game's garbo. So
I think a lot of it is going to be on. If you don't like the structural thing of the game, like how it's got a lot of loading screens, that's probably not going to change. But I do think this is one of the advantages in a weird way of Game Pass as well, where because Bethesda aren't necessarily... There's less incentive for them to go, well, we sold 6 million copies. It wasn't as loved as before. We're done with it. Off we go. There's an incentive to sort of create something that is a longer term runner for the service and keeps people subscribed, keeps people coming back. Microsoft's going to be giving them money for that. I mean, in that big old leak, there were, you know, that Bethesda leak had plans that went out to a Starfield 2 and a Starfield 3, but also made clear that there were plans for a lot of extra content for this game. And you have to imagine Todd must be self-aware enough that all the criticism hasn't fallen on deaf ears, and they'll find ways to better link up the component parts, because I think what links the component parts is what is really a bit shit and boring. Yeah. And like the procedural planets, it's like, much as with No Man's Sky, they can, through updates, perhaps make more planets more unique and more interesting over time, or add more unique planets.
When you've explored the same automated mech plant on fucking 6 different planets, and it doesn't even have enough variation to have like a different set of fucking like notes on desks or anything. It's like, oh, this is literally the same like thing and the same contents and everything.
No, but Jim, every desk has like 2 mugs and a lunch meal, which is like a beautiful model of like a sandwich in a wrap.
Yeah, I like that.
And a clipboard.
I put a terrarium on the desk in my captain's quarters the other day, and I've never felt so alive.
And if you're not happy with that, then I mean, you're asking for too much.
Well, exactly.
I was thrilled to learn that they just straight up have a clutter team.
It shows. It's a top-notch clutter in that game. Everything looks really lived in. I just wish... There's so many like control panels in that game. I just wish you could interact with them. I wish like you could interact with it on a more meaningful level than like there's a couple of really obvious terminals that you can log into and read like 4 emails. But you know, that'll be on a desk with like 9 million computers that you can't do anything with, and it's oddly frustrating in a way. But what I was gonna say was essentially, And this is a big flip for me, but even though I know objectively that Baldur's Gate 3 is the better game in myriad ways.
Be very careful here.
I'm enjoying Starfield more than Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, you're such a wanker. Like, why?
I want you to like cross the Rubicon for me there,
because that's like you knew what you were doing when you said that.
I know. I genuinely like. I can look at them. You know, I take a step back from them. And it's like I know Baldur's Gate 3 is a much better RPG, a much better, just a much more well designed game. It has better companions. It's got a better script. It's got a better everything. And yet,
this is the video game equivalent of going to McDonald's instead of going to a Michelin star restaurant.
Yeah, but sometimes you just want a McDonald's, right?
You just like
That is
space
true.
and spaceships. That's it. You've just got a soft spot for that. Do you think Starfield would be a game that you'll just keep on coming back to every time you watch like a Star Trek season or something? In the same way that every time I like watch a YouTube video about 40k, I sort of fall into spending 40 quid on a box that I don't paint. Is this just like a thing you're just kind of falling into every now and again?
Maybe every time there's a new season of For All Mankind, I'm going to be like, oh, better get Skyrim.
You'll just be like, oh, do you know what? I should really jump into Starfield again. I bet it's really good now, and it won't be.
You never know. Maybe the next Mass Effect will be good.
I tell you what, it's fucking...
Yeah, maybe.
It's better than No Man's Sky, man. It's that Starfield's well better than
That's
No
what's
Man's
interesting. If you like customizing your ship and being like a space explorer and building outposts, is it better than No Man's Sky?
Yeah.
Which has had like
much better.
Tons of updates on that.
Yeah, but No Man's Sky's fucking like, if you want to talk about games that have interesting systems but are ultimately really fucking boring, No Man's Sky takes the biscuit on that. And there's so much more of it that it's just the amount of boring shit in it is just exponential.
I can't speak to that one that much because, to be honest, I played it at launch when it was a bit of a pig. And and that was I had to play it for work because there was loads of stuff we had to do on it, assignments, reviews, guides, all the rest. And no one else wanted to do it, and it had fallen to me. And I just was so miserable. I have not been back even since all the updates.
I had to play it for work at launch as well, back in the video gamer days, and I played a lot of that at launch in its launch stage.
Was it that long ago that video gamers still existed in a form that isn't embarrassing?
I think I was still at school and I bought it full price and I was like, I'm so excited. And then same boat. It was
I was excited for that game, but it's just sludge.
I think if you jump back into it, you'd like it now.
No,
really, based on what you said, I think you'd really
because exactly like you characterized Starfield 2 minutes ago. That's what made me think of No Man's Sky, because you keep jumping back into it and you think, oh, it's really good now. Everyone on Twitter says it's really good now, and every time I fall for that, I log back into No Man's Sky, and it's the same fucking game for the first 8 hours or whatever.
Well, you want to know what is massively improved. If you want to talk about games that just have incredible additions. So you talk about you played a lot of Starfield over the holidays. I pretty much exclusively, I had all these grand designs. I was going to get my eye back in on Street Fighter and get back on Ranked in January. I was going to start another Baldur's Gate save. There was lots of stuff I was going to do. Other than a couple of rounds of Into the Breach, I pretty much exclusively over Christmas played Hitman. So
nice.
Obviously this last year has been interesting because around about a year ago this month, they patched Hitman 3. They delisted Hitman 1 and 2. They patched Hitman 3 to make all the content from the first 2 games like DLC for that game. And they renamed Hitman 3 Hitman World of Assassination. So they basically made it one great big package.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if anyone hasn't been back to that game, I can't recommend it enough, because if you just, for instance, finish the story of the 3 games, which is great, and maybe did the elusive targets and all that crap, brilliant. But they did a mode called Freelancer. And Freelancer is basically, you imagine each of those games had anywhere between 6 and 8 levels. And all those levels are beautiful, intricate Rube Goldberg machines. And Freelancer is a roguelike. So it's legitimately, so you start out and you're taking down syndicates. So it's like the first syndicate you have to do 3 different assassinations, not necessarily of individuals. It might be 3 people on one level and 1 person on another level, whatever. Then it's 4, then it's 5, but it's completely random on the level who it might be that needs killing, the circumstances, and basically you have a safe house that you return to between missions, and you're unlocking weapons and storing them on a weapon wall and gadgets and stuff on a weapon wall, and then you've got extra missions. So it's like you might have get an assault rifle kill with an epic, because they've given rarities, with an epic assault rifle. And you're looking at your wall going, I've only got 1 epic assault rifle and this is a mission on a level that I'm not very confident in. Do I want to try and take that epic assault rifle to get the extra money from completing that reward? Or do I think it's going to be too hard and therefore I'm going to lose my money? And this is like, it instantly saves the second anything happens, so you can't save. There is a slight way to save scum it, but it's very difficult to save scum and you're not supposed to. And it's really good. It's just really, really, really fun. It makes you think on your feet. There's different there's different objectives for each one. So it might be encouraging you to poison, or encouraging you to do accidents, or encourage you to just go in guns blazing. There are levels that I played many, many times over the course of those games for the story, for the elusive targets, for the side missions, and playing Freelancer, I was discovering new areas that I didn't even know you could go in. Because
stuff that was always there.
It was always there,
yeah.
but because the other missions didn't lead you to it, but then suddenly I'm assassinating this random person. I'm like, oh shit, you can get in that tower and climb it and snipe from the top of it. And it's just really, really, really good fun. And then the last twist that I really like is, so each syndicate, a campaign is there's a trio of syndicates you need to take down, and each one you have a series of assassinations leading up to the big one at the end. And the big one at the end of each syndicate is always only one person. But you get intel, so it'll be like, so it'll narrow it down to like 6 people, and it'll be like, it's one of these 6 people. So when you press the Hitman Vision, you can see these 6 people highlighted. But then Diana the handler will say, and it's all procedurally generated, so it's different, it's random, will say, like, here's what we know. They have brown hair, they're wearing a hat, they're wearing glasses, they're here for a business meeting, they have allergies, and they're a smoker. And so you then have to go around, and you're sort of sneaking around in the shadows, looking at these people who you know it's been narrowed down to. And waiting for them to light up a cigarette, or you're looking at them and, or you get a camera out and you're zooming in long lens from a distance, and their hair is, and you know, you look at their hair and they're like, nah, their hair's the wrong color. She said they were going to have tattoos. I don't see any tattoos on this person. And then you just get the joy of, like, you know, you see someone light up and you go like, it's that motherfucker. And then at that point, the Hitman instinct kicks in, where you're like, right, can I get them alone? Is there an opportunity to poison them? Are they drinking from something? Is there an opportunity to set up an accident? And all that sort of stuff. And obviously it escalates in difficulty as you go on. And I played a lot of this when it came out in January and wrote about it in very loving terms then. That package now, that Hitman World of Assassination package, where you can just buy that now and get all the content from all 3 games, plus Freelancer. Plus they're still doing elusive targets and stuff, so there's still new content as a live service coming into that game. Or they're repeating old stuff. If you don't know what that is, by the way, for anyone watching, listening, an elusive target was a Hitman thing where it's a one-off target, so it's something they set up and you only get one shot at it, and it's all logged on the servers and all that sort of stuff. You get one shot and that's it. And so it's
one of them
really
was Sean Bean, right?
One of them was Sean Bean,
And
they've had another one that's a famous person. I
love that. I love that. I also love this thing you were describing. It's basically like Guess Who, but it ends in a murder. That's fucking brilliant.
I love it. And it's got that roguelike structure where when you lose, you just want to jump back in to regain what you lost and all that sort of stuff.
It's really makes
good.
me want to play it.
Freelancer is amazing. And but there's still, I don't know how much new elusive target stuff they're doing, but it's like you boot the game to get into Freelancer over Christmas, and it's like, right on the front and center is like, here's our holiday roadmap. Here's how you unlock the Santa suit for 47 and all this stuff they've put in because it's Christmas. So they're still sort of, even though they're working on their Bond game, they're still sort of, and hopefully the elusive target stuff continues a little bit longer. Like, I would have liked to see them do more famous people. Like, I remember before this game was even announced, someone explained the elusive target thing to me and said, oh, we're going to get celebrities. Imagine that you had to kill Justin Bieber. That was the example they used. Right. And obviously they never quite got anyone that famous, but they did get old Sean Bean. They did get.
I mean, look, what if you had to murder Danny Minogue?
Game of the year.
I love that. I really. Oh man, that sounds. That actually sounds.
The
incredible.
one that I'm gutted they never got is Pitbull, right? Because Pitbull looks like 47. So I feel like that was just like an open goal, and I wondered, like, did they ask him? Did they just not think of it? Because he doesn't seem like the sort of person that'd say no. Because that just feels like a massive open goal that they missed there, is having Agent 47 assassinate Pitbull at a gig.
There's got to be all sorts of stories of like them reaching out to people, right? You can only imagine like who they reached out to. They must have cast a wide net, right? Like you said.
Well, initially when the first game came out, that would have been through Square, right? So,
right.
Like I always wondered about Sean Bean with the timing. I don't know, when did this game come out? Obviously, he was in the Final Fantasy 15 thing, wasn't he? So I don't know if the timing lined up where he happened to be working with them on that.
I really hope there's like some kind of Bond crossover promotion where like Pierce Brosnan turns up as an elusive target or something.
I'm sure that there will be references to 47 in the Bond game, just because IO likes to do that. Like, I'm not even sure they still even own Kane and Lynch. That might still be with Square, but like there are references to Kane and Lynch in Hitman, and there's Freedom Fighters arcade machines out in the world and things like that. So,
Connor, you've been playing Rogue Trader, right?
I love Rogue Trader so much. I love it because I beat like everyone. Like I played a bunch of Baldur's Gate 3, and that kind of got me on this RPG kick. And
you wanted to play better games, right? Because you found Baldur's Gate 3 really wanting.
It's so long, and there were so many games. That last year, I kind of finished it, and then I was like, "I'll wait until this is like been updated and stuff." And that's proven to be smart because they've since gone back and made a bunch of changes. They're still making changes and adding stuff. But I was like, I want to play some other stuff in that sort of similar vein. I wanted to go back to Wasteland, but I ended up on Rogue Trader because I'm a massive dork. I love 40k stuff. It's a real weak spot for me. It's like I can't like paint for shit or anything, but I just love the models and stuff like that. I love the world of it. I have like some books somewhere. But I played Rogue Trader thinking, I'll be all right. It'd be pretty good. And I'm really sort of locked into it. It's made by Owlcat, so they made some Pathfinder games. And it's just really sort of hitting the itch for me of kind of in-depth, complicated, quite hard as well. I went in with like, sort of like the Baldur's Gate 3 approach, being like, I'll just make whatever character I want and I'll do whatever I want and I'll kind of just wing it on like what my companions have, sort of like skills and upgrades wise. And you get to like Act 2 and the difficulty really jumps. I think Pathfinder games aren't afraid to sort of scale the difficulty up.
Yeah, they're pretty infamous for that. Like.
Yeah, and I think it's the same is true here. So, I did end up like just looking up how do I upgrade these characters so they're really good, so they're solid. I think the game does a really good job at sort of capturing what the Warhammer 40k sort of universe is like. Yeah. In some ways that are quite funny and jarring. So you go to a world and you're like this basically big intergalactic sort of like space touring. You have your own sort of like spaceship and you own planets, and you land on this planet and they're like, oh, sorry, we don't have sort of your shipment ready. And then you have options scaling from that's okay, don't worry about it, to you messed up, time to shoot you in the head. And it's not like a Mass Effect style renegade option. You don't get like a bad sort of points for it. But if you're like really kind to people, one of like your quote unquote nice companions will set you aside and be like, look, you're really messing this up. You're not doing your job right. You're meant to shoot these folks. What are you doing? People think you're a giant like loser because you're not just shooting people for spilling coffee on the floor and stuff like that. Okay, the developers have made it possible for me to be a right knob. So let's see how much I can push that, right? Yeah. Rogue Trader is really fun with it. It gives you like 3 different unique directions of being a massive dick to people. You'd be like a religious diehard where you're like, if you're not super down with like the church, then tough, I kind of have to shoot you. And then you can just be an evil sort of like space wizard. And it's really, really solid. The problem with it is that like, and apparently this is a thing of Owlcat games, is it's quite buggy. Yeah, it's got some bugs in it.
I was gonna say there's got to be, because it's like a B tier sort of release, and it really just flopped out without any fanfare, really. And I was
when I first
that's the thing.
I was given a preview access to it a while ago, and I jumped in, and it was kind of really early, and I was like, I'm not really feeling this. It's kind of okay, but it's not polished at all, and it's obviously just really, really early. So I kind of just jumped out, and I jumped in now. And the start of the game is, I can't stress enough, it's really solid. But then you get later on, and suddenly, I can't land on this planet. I can't pick up this stuff. The menus are just bugged. I had a boss fight where I don't think this was meant to happen, but I just had my turn repeat over and over and over and over again. Which is great for me.
You're really selling it.
But I was clearly like, okay, that's not meant to happen. But like, I don't know.
I can't believe you were you were fucking laying into Starfield earlier, and you're like, I've been really into this buggy shit game. It's
boring, bro. It's like it doesn't let you make it. It doesn't let you make any mistakes.
Apparently, this one makes you play the same turn.
You turn up
Again
to
and
a
again and
funeral
again.
in the Constellation place, you shoot some guy, and nothing happens because Bethesda doesn't let you do anything fun.
Oh, well, you know.
Whereas this game, you just like quest critical NPCs are having a bad time, and then your cool like church sister of battle companions like, he's looking pretty sus, I might dome him real quick, and you can be like, do it. And then your crew's totally cool with it. I've killed like 3 companions.
Yeah.
And I'm in chapter 2.
I do wish you could do that with Starfield, actually. I wish you could just like kill Sarah Morgan the 90th time. She's like, you sure you want to pick that up? I'm like, yeah, I want to fucking play that up. Stop fucking criticizing my playstyle.
I was talking to friends about it, and I was like, it says a lot. That like if you know like even a vague amount about 40k, you know what a space marine is. You're big dude in big armor, and there is a space marine companion in this game at some point.
Yeah,
and I don't want him. I found my crew.
I'm one of these people who really likes a lot of Warhammer stuff, but I've never fucking bought any of the models or anything.
Well, no, because it's too expensive and we have bills to pay.
Like fucking Bolt Gun was amazing and Space Marine is great and stuff like that. But like, it's all about the military side. And surely there's more to that world, right? Which traders explore.
So like Space Marine is like you're a big hench dude in power armor and there's a bunch of aliens charging at you and you shoot them and it's like really high action. This is like the politics of being a governor on a planet. Yeah.
Rogue Traders, like you're basically applying like North Korean dissident style discipline to people who bring you the wrong coffee.
This is really nerdy. So like this is the last thing I say, because apologies because of how sort of this might sound like nothing, but at the end of chapter 1, there's obviously a boss fight to be like, you know, you're at the end of the chapter, and you've got 6 hench people. You got like a space wizard. You've got like an investigator who's also like a space wizard. You've got like a church lady with a big gun. You've got yourself. And so you've got your hench team and you're killing cultists all day. And then like a single Chaos Space Marine steps out of a ship. And it does this great thing where your entire crew is like, I guess we're dead. This is over. Hopefully the planet can evacuate.
Yeah.
And it's like, he's got like 200 HP and he can just one-shot your team.
Oh, I love that sort of thing.
If they're repositioned. And it's just one Space Marine.
As it should be, right?
And that's chapter 1. And then it sets you loose on the universe. And it's got this lovely sort of like map on your ship where you've got to chart new routes to galaxies and planets and explore planets. There's a bunch of wild stuff out there. And you almost got like messed up by a single dude with a big bolt gun. So good luck.
That sounds great.
It nails the brief.
I need to get on this. Too many fucking RPGs in my life.
If you
right
do,
now.
there's no shame in being like easy difficulty, look up companion guides.
100%.
For sure.
I ain't got,
with these
got
games,
time,
especially.
Man. Like Baldur's Gate 3 for me was like easy difficulty. I just can't.
That's an easy difficulty game if ever there was one. Yeah.
Well, Baldur's Gate 3, it's interesting with Baldur's Gate 3, I didn't want to just slap it on easy because I didn't want to just like pick a barbarian and two-handed sword, like take 4 attacks on things and kill everything in the game.
Yeah.
I wanted to think about, okay, what if I throw a bomb there? Because Baldur's Gate 3 is really good with sort of like environmental stuff and how it interacts with the gameplay. So I do see value in not just slapping it on easy, but in this game, dude, just slap it. This game will mess you up. And
I'm
that's
gonna
good
slap it on easy, and I'm gonna get the fucking if anyone's done a trainer for it.
Yeah.
I can't be fucked with setbacks, but yeah.
There's one video, it's the best video on it, of some like, I'm going to say Russian dude in a tank top, I think. And he just goes through like,
where's this going?
This is what you do, build on every companion and why. And it's a better and more in-depth sort of guide for this than any website or any other YouTube channel has. And it's just some dude with a webcam, which is, I think, encapsulates the game in it. It's just like, if you're that guy, if you're that person who just wants to like...
What, a Russian in a tank top?
Sweat it out in your room and crunch the numbers and figure out weird builds.
Russian in a tank top, I know.
Then it's the game. It really is the game. It's the game for you. It just lets you mess around and make mistakes. And
that sounds fucking great.
It is awesome.
You've both really pitched me on like fucking endless games that I don't have any time for.
Yeah.
So I kind of hate you both for that. We'll be back next week to talk about other stuff. I don't know what it is yet, but I think
Whatever happens.
yeah, whatever happens.
Whatever
I might get Sharif on next week because he's really argumentative on the quiet. And
I'm sure he's got something to be angry about as well. He usually does.
yeah. But I want to drop that Starfield is a better game than X stuff on him and see how he kicks off because he fucking hates Bethesda. Like he's actually got a real, like he's got it in for Todd, like on a personal level. Like Todd said something about his family. Like it's so.
Do we have a theme song for this show?
We don't have a theme song. No, I'm not going to do a theme song.
But the theme song went down so well on the podcast.
I think that was the last. Like I don't know what it is, right? But I used to write a lot of music and stuff when I was younger. And when I hit like 30, I just couldn't do it anymore for some reason. And that fucking theme song for for Best Games Ever podcast is like it was like the last drop.
That was your last
fucking song, right? Like it was.
You were being
the
creatively milk dry.
Yeah, that was it. And it was like done now. I can't do any more music anymore. It's done. So
what a way to go out, really.
Yeah. So this is just gonna have Girlfriend in a Coma by the Smiths, apparently. All right, okay.
I started talking about
Baldur's Gate 3
and how he's no good, and everybody said, Jim, you're right. Jim, you're right. Jim, you're right. Jim, you're right. I started talking about
Big the Cat
and how he's no good, and everybody said, Jim, you're right. Jim, you're right. Jim, you're right. Jim, you're right. I started talking about
Wanker.
and how he's no good, and everybody said, Jim, you're right. Jim, you're right. Jim, you're right. Jim, you're wrong.
Russian in a tank top, I know, it's serious. Russian in a tank top, I know, it's really serious. I never used to know any 40k law, but now I know about several bits of 40k law. No, I don't want to know more. Do you really think I need to? Do you really think I need to? Russian in a tank top, I know, it's serious. My baby, goodbye. There were times when I could have heard more, Lord. But you know, I don't think I want to hear any more, Lord. Would you please tell me no more? I don't want to know any more, Lord. I don't want to know any more. Well, now I wouldn't have fucking asked if I knew it was this serious.